Welcome to Sundae Sermon, a celebration of Black folks. My name is Marlon Brown. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm excited to be here today. I feel like I'm old school newscasting, so I'm just loving this opportunity. So, um, more about me: I'm a radio host. I host Church for Mr. B on Hollow Earth Radio. I own Bessie's Cakes. That's my foray into food. And I also am co-owner of Racial Equity Consultants. Today, I'm excited about talking about food because I am a huge lover of food. And so, today's episode and show is just so exciting to really just jump into. I want to recognize that I and many of us here today are coming to you from the land of the Coast Salish, particularly the Duwamish, whose people, past and present, are still here. We honor with gratitude the land that we're on and the people. So we are here to celebrate Black folks in this 6-part virtual series. Today, we're specifically celebrating food. Sundae Sermon is a partnership, between Washington State Parks and Golden Bricks Events, with additional support from our generous sponsors, Seattle Audubon, Washington State Parks Foundation, the Wilderness Society, Washington Trails Association, National Endowment for the Arts, Conservation Northwest, and For Culture. Drop in the comment section where you're watching this show from, and we'll get this started. Detroit. I've lived here in the Pacific Northwest, particularly in Seattle, for the last 12 and a half years. And everything around food really comes from my lived experience in Detroit. I learned how to cook from my grandmother, Bessie Mae Ingram, who I named Bessie's Cakes after. And it has just been a huge passion. One, I think, just maintaining this boyish figure that I have that you can't all see, but just been a lover of food and all the things that food represents, the exploration of food and spices and smells has always excited me. And I am just excited about food all the time. You'll see some videos of other folks who are excited about food as I am, and so I'm looking forward to venturing into that. Today we will be celebrating food, but through the series we have celebrated joy, community, the LGBTQIA plus community, women, and activism. We've also learned about different Washington State parks, scuba diving to radical healing, which sounds amazing. Enjoyed music from so many great musicians like Gretchen Yanover, Coyote Arts, I hope I got that right, Joe Williams, Alicia, and Zauser. We've also had artists create works, and today we will have Seattle artist Ayanna Ali doing work while the show is going on today. So welcome, Ayanna.
Hi.
Hi. So thank you so much for joining us on Sundae Sermon. Introduce yourself for us, please.
I'm Ayanna Ali. I'm 17 years old. Sorry, I forgot what else I was.
Just more about you. You're 17 years old and you're an artist, and what other amazing things are you up to?
Well, I'm an artist. I do like to paint a lot. I did play a little bit of bass, but I've been a little slow on practicing that lately. Um, I also have a business with my art merchandise on it.
Nice.
Website is alterego.com, or alter ego exp. Um, and just excited to be here.
Yeah. So what interested you in art, and what is like your art medium, and what was the excitement that drew you to the art that you create?
I always have liked art, but recently I've been into more of a gothic horror type of theme, and I think it's because how many horror movies and stuff and anime I used to watch as a kid.
Mhm.
But art is always just really exciting to me. It feels like there's like no rules or limits as to what you can create because it's your art. You have control over it.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that freedom. Yeah, are there any artists who inspire you, artists in our past who encourage you to do what you do?
Um, well, I do have one artist that inspired a style that I'm experimenting with, kind of a black and white comic style, but his name is Junji Ito, and he makes a lot of horror type of manga and stuff like that. So he's really an inspiration to me with all his ideas and such.
Nice. Good. So when you think about Black folks and food, what comes to mind when you think of Black folks and food?
Um, well, I've always lived in a family where we like cook and stuff like that, and some of our best conversations and times are like had around like the table and eating and stuff like that. So when I think of like Black cooking and stuff like that, I really just think of like good times because that's what I'm associated with.
Nice. And do you cook yourself?
Yes, I do.
Good. And what's your favorite dish to make?
My favorite dish to make is mac and cheese
Mac and
because
cheese.
I'm really mm.
Nice. All right. So what's your secret ingredient in your macaroni and cheese?
um
And it won't be a secret after this. So tread lightly.
My friends up in Seattle, since they don't eat a lot of Southern cooking, they don't believe me when I say this, but I do like to add like some sour cream to it, just like the baking to make it like it has like a nice texture. I also like to add like a lot of like salt and some pepper too.
Yeah.
Add a little like cayenne pepper just for like the color and stuff like that. But
Nice. And a little bit of heat too, right?
yeah.
Nice. Good. All right. So um, when you think about Sunday, the day Sunday, um, what comes to mind about Sundays for you?
Sundays, they're kind of just like any other day to me. I don't know, like I'm kind of like new to this like whole like
Mm.
doing this on Sundays.
Yes, yes. Most folks use it as a rest day. Like, we're busy Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday is sometimes our rest day. We just kind of catch up and recharge. Some folks like sports. I'm not a sportsy person, but Sunday is definitely huge for so many of us. And so just wanted to know how you use your Sundays. How do you normally use your Sundays?
Sundays are usually like a lot of like drawing and stuff for me. Just kind of like spending my day doing my hobbies and stuff.
Good, nice. So you're going to be creating art during the show. So what kind of mediums? What are you using to create art today?
I'll probably use some pencil and then probably color it with some Copic markers and go over it with pen.
Nice. All right. Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for creating this work with us today. And, I'm just excited to see what you have in store for us later. And so, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So today we're highlighting Millersylvania State Park, and that was a mouthful, Millersylvania State Park. So let's take a virtual tour of the park, and Allison's going to take it away.
Hi everyone, my name is Allison. I'm coming to you today from the Washington State Parks Foundation. Thank you all so much for joining us today for our final Sunday Sermon episode. Today we'll be talking about Millersylvania. It was donated as a state park by the Miller family in 1924, and it's actually named Millersylvania as an ode to its beautiful sylvan and forested glades. I'm really excited to share with you guys today our virtual tour, which is actually just a really fantastic way to engage with the state park and explore it virtually from the comfort of home. So what I'm showing you right now is our home page on our Washington State Parks Foundation website. You go to waparks.org. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on Take a Virtual Tour, because that's the first option. And what this will do is take you to a whole list of all of the state parks available to you. As you can see, there's a ton of them here. We are going to click on Millersylvania right here. So here we are, and as you can see, it's a really, really gorgeous view. What we can do is click on the play button at the bottom, and it'll take you on a full 360-degree turn around the park. And you can either have it rotate you automatically, or you can pause it and physically drag your cursor around to see what you want. So that's a really nice feature. You can kind of control how you want to look at it. You can also look up and look down, which is a really fun feature. And if we go all the way around, you can see that there's a little yellow and blue hiking man icon. So if we click on that, it's going to take us to another part. And again, it's just a really fun way to organically explore the park virtually. And so you can either click on the little blue and yellow hiking man icons when you see them to walk around, or you can look at the different areas on the side here and click, for example, swim beach or the boat launch, which is awesome. And what is really cool about Millersylvania State Park is that it actually lies within the traditional lands of the Chehalis, Nisqually, and Cowlitz tribes. And for the past 5 years, a group of the tribal canoe families have actually been educating the public and fundraising for the annual paddle journey. And the Canoe Family Celebration is a really fun event. It takes place in the parks during the summer. This year, unfortunately, it did not due to COVID-19, but fingers crossed that next year it will. And it's an opportunity for visitors to try a pull in a canoe, learn about some of the tribal canoe traditions, and enjoy a salmon lunch while supporting tribal heritage. So in the future, if you're ever given the opportunity, I would definitely check it out. It's a wonderful experience. And as you can see, it's just a really, really beautiful area to do some water activities or explore the beach. And then we can just pause. And what I want to show you really quickly also is the different features available. So this home icon will take you back to that home list for you to explore all the different virtual parks. This one is the scene list. So if you click on that, the scene list on the right side of the screen goes away. And then this takes you to a map of the park. And then this button will take you to the info page for the park, which is going to give you a little bit more background information, as well as activities available, brochures, and even links to do camping reservations and all of that. So I just wanted to quickly take you guys around. For example, we can click on the picnic area and open the door. And then you can see the picnic shelter right here, which I'm sure some of you have some really fond memories of coming here for family celebrations and all of that. And even though opportunities for that can be a little bit limited right now while we're all social distancing, it's nice to know that the parks are here and here to stay. And whenever we are able to, we'll be able to get back out there. So this is just another resource out there. It's really great for either planning a future trip. So this is a great way to get an idea of the terrain, the facilities, even parking. available to you at the parks. You can plan the different activities and plan how you're going to pack for the day. The virtual tours are also a really great way to look back on some experiences that you have. I know that I really enjoy looking back at the virtual tours and revisiting some of these parks that have meant a lot to me during my time growing up here in Washington. We hope you'll take advantage of virtual tours. There's so many to explore on our website, and they're all stunning. And just enjoy, have a great rest of the outdoor rec season. I know that it's getting a little bit grayer and wetter, but it never stops us Washingtonians. So have a wonderful rest of your fall, and we hope you've enjoyed all of these Sunday Sermon programs. And thank you all. Thank you. Have a great one. Bye.
All right, thanks, Allison. And if you're able to get out to a park, please make sure to do it responsibly. Also, don't forget your Discover Pass. We also know that the cost of a Discover Pass could be a barrier. So after every Sunday sermon, we are giving away one Discover Pass. So tell us what you think of the event and be entered in a chance to win a pass. The survey link will be shared at the end. All right, so back to the program. I'm really excited to welcome and have this next conversation. Let's welcome Rodney Hines, Rodney Hines, that's important, the owner of Emcee Brewing Company.
Hi, Marlon.
Hey, Rodney. So I'm so excited to talk to you. I was out there yesterday. I don't know if any of the staff were able to tell you I was there, and I got all kinds of gear and stuff. And so
Thank you.
I'm ready.
I heard you were our first customer yesterday.
Among the first ones.
All right.
Yeah. There was a couple of folks that was really waiting, so I could see the excitement for for your shop. So it was really cool. So tell us more about you. Tell us what you want us to know about Rodney.
Whoa, how much time do we have?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Not that much, but we're gonna make the best of it.
So I originally from the East Coast, grew up in Philly, born in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And the brewery, Emcee Brewing Company, we have been around for 2 years. Okay. In fact, we just celebrated our 2 years in July, which sounds strange to say celebration amidst what's going on right now. Right. But it was a milestone that we are just joyful to have had. Yeah. And one of the things, Marlon, that you may have seen when you came in is the mission statement, and it really does guide us. And whenever I talk about who we are and what we're doing, I have to start with our mission. And our mission is to brew damn good beer and to build stronger community to inspire bigger dreams for all. Mm-hmm. And it's valuable for all the reasons why all these conversations are valuable. It is that not all of us have access to the ability and the capability to dream bigger. And in some ways, we've been forced to define how we might dream. And part of our work is to help enable and to inspire bigger dreams for everyone.
Nice. So, being the researcher that I have been.
Now I'm scared.
Just, I want to really understand as a foodie and someone who, just really understand the importance and the sacrifices of being a business owner and trying to do it well with integrity. I know that it's important. Just kind of, understanding how you got here. So, why beer? Why a brewing company?
It's funny. I think beer is a vehicle for me and for our team to do what we think is needed and necessary, and beer is the way to have communication, to have dialogue, to have conversation, to have community. And so it really is almost like a platform and access for us to do the cool, fun, community, people, family stuff that we want to do. So I'm a cyclist too, and my co-founder, he was a competitive cyclist and a trainer. And part of what brought us together, and is a part of who we are here, is a theme of cycling. And it comes through in that we support Major Taylor program, which is honoring a great African-American world-class cyclist from the 1890s and early 1900s. And through that program, we're helping to support young people, lower income, South King County, Tacoma, to get into cycling.
Nice.
And then I think beer, I've been drinking beer since college. But right out of college, when I was in college, I did a semester abroad in London. And I actually had classes in pubs, and I saw theater in pubs. And I kind of connected the social change, civil rights movement, and what was happening in churches and in cafes to discourse conversation that could happen in a pub. And when we think about the space that we're creating, we've had conversations around inclusivity in this industry. What does it look like? We've worked with folks like the African American Historical Society, Urban League, and others to really push for conversation and discourse in a way, but change. But I think the space that we provide enables some of this conversation, fun, everything to happen. So that's the convergence of these things.
Yeah, when I was out there, I definitely saw folks engage in a lot of conversation. And I think that, having that space and just spaces to be able to do that, in a way that just pushes us to, to show up differently for each other is fantastic. So in addition to what we have already talked about, what are other ways in which you celebrate Black culture?
I feel like I'm hoping that this is a rhetorical question for you, that when you came in yesterday, you actually said you saw it. And for all the customers, folks who are watching this, if you haven't been here, I hope that the moment you walk through, you begin to sense Black culture, Black love, and you see yourself reflected. I think one of the things that has stayed with me as someone who enjoys beer, enjoys food, cocktails, is you have moments in our lives where we go into spaces and we don't see ourselves. And that was part of the impetus of creating a space. I wanted a space where I can see myself and where others can be seen and feel connected to.
Yeah.
So when you walk in, you look at our food, you look at our artwork.
Yeah.
And all of our artwork are done by folks of color.
Yeah.
And when you look at the labels for our cans, for our bottles, we have Perry Roden, who just recently did the label for Say It Loud, Stout and Proud, and with proceeds going to the Urban League. We had Damon, Creative Blue, who did the artwork for our Trailblazer Pale Ale. And then Mexican American dude, Paco, did our first label. But when you walk through, you see the art, you look at our menu, and on our menu, you see food from Umami Kushi, African-American dude, Harold Fields. You see Donna's, Marjorie's Restaurant, her plantains. We have those in sale.
Yes.
And then periodically, when you look at some of our beers, you'll see strawberries and blueberries that's introduced from Sky Island Farm, an African-American owned organic farm out of Pocrium. But I hope as you walk through our space, you feel the culture, you feel the love, you feel who we are. And you feel yourself.
Yeah, and so I have some stuff.
You got props. You got better props than I have.
I picked up things. And I love the artwork, and I am excited. I got the Trailblazer. I asked, what are the things I must have, so definitely got that. Of course, I walked away with, souvenir glass. So
nice.
I got all the things. Wait, I'm not done. I got more. I got the shirt. I got the sweatshirt. I am geared up. I'm geared up and ready to roll. But when I was there, what really excited me was pairing, the beer, the brews with food. As a foodie, I am always trying out new stuff. And, as a baker, I didn't really get to venture a lot into alcohol or beers per se. But when I cook, like, what I'm thinking about with the coconut porter is I add beer to my chili.
Yeah,
so
same here.
I'm going to definitely try this in my chili next. And then I often marinate my ribs in beer. And so I'm going to try this as part of the marinade. And we're gonna make that work. And so I'm excited to just try these things out. But have you
so Marlon, when do I show up at your place to try all these things? Just give me the date. That's cool.
I will definitely make that happen, and we can get a date so I have all that together.
I'll bring the beer.
That's right. That's right. I'm excited. Are there any other partnerships that you want to talk about? I know that there's a mention of Boom Boona Coffee in this. Are there any other partnerships that you want to highlight and share?
Yeah, I'll throw out 2 or 3 over the 2 years, and they're continuing to grow. So the first one I would say was, I want to give props to Larry Rock. Larry Rock, few people know his name, but back about 30 years ago, he was one of the first brewers with Pike Brewing. African-American guy. He's now at Rubens. And when we opened our doors, we talked to him, and he appreciated our beer and said he would do our first collab. So we did a Dunkel Ice with him. We're about to do the same beer again. We've modified it, but Larry was one of the first folks who embraced us and decided to work with us. And then you move forward, Eduardo Jordan, we actually did I think it was at least a 5-course food pairing meal where he actually introduced, just as you were describing, he introduced some of our beers into the courses, into his recipes. And that event, it sold out twice. We were only supposed to have one seating for it, and we actually sold out, so he decided to open up more. So we did that with him, and then we followed up and did the Soul of Seattle that he did back in February with a lot of other chefs and beverage companies. Jerk Shack Restaurant. If you have the black stripe that will you show that again? Will you show my prop?
You got you covered.
If you look at the top of that prop, the can, you see the rooster, and some folks should recognize that from Jerk Shack Restaurant. So that we did that in collab with Jerk Shack, so Trey and the team there. And if you go into Jerk Shack, all of their taps are our taps.
Nice.
And I will say that the love that came from him, when he and John tasted our beers and said, we love this all, and we're going to have all of our taps be yours because we want to do this in a lot of solidarity and a brotherhood. And that just brought tears to me. It's like we hadn't had that yet. So it just keeps going. And then I would say we're working with quite a few, because I've already named Sky Island and several other folks. I do have to call out Lolita. When you were here, you saw the garage door that had all the posters, and it was documenting a day in the life for the kids in the Major Taylor Project. Lolita, who's a photographer, her mural poster is in our tap room. When she came in, she just felt this place and said, I got to do more. You just can't buy this one print. What else can I do for you? So I asked her to spend a day with the kids from the Major Taylor Project to document their lives. So that's the array, but I will say, and Marlon, I think you get this from what you were saying earlier, our community, we have one-on-one connections that's a part of the business, like how we source and the artwork and other things we do, even the consulting stuff, that really is tied to uplifting others in the community and bringing them with us. And I will also say there are others who I may not have a direct business interaction with, but they give me love and support, and I do the same with them. So I think about Christy and Damon, and they're about to open up communion. And I'm actually getting emotional about it because I changed my walk to go get coffee to go. When I go to Katona and some other places, I got to stop in and try to peek into communion. And it was like, when the hell do you open it up? Like, I'm waiting.
Yes.
So I think the community that is beyond who we might work with daily, folks like them, the station, and other folks we're propping each other up and giving each other love and calling each other with questions as we all try to figure out how we make it through this world right now.
Absolutely. And I think that's so important for us to be in collaboration, recognizing, and community with each other, because it just makes us stronger, and the partnerships that you shared, or partnerships that I've shared. When I was baking with Bessie's Cakes was up and running, I was definitely in partnership with Christy with that Brown Girl Cooks. And so my red velvet cupcakes, if you've ever had her do an event, the red velvet cupcakes were mine.
Nice.
And so, I'm pretty famous for those. And
wait, so I get that with the ribs and with the chili?
Oh man, if I start baking, man, we don't even want to put that out there because it's just bananas. I don't even want to put that out there. So yeah, but what we do offline, we'll take care of it.
All right.
So what's next? What's next for you? What's next for the shop? What's going on? What are you working on?
So it's good question. I mean, like thinking through that, it's odd to think what's next when we're in the middle of this.
Right.
But I would say that probably any advice any of us are getting right now, if you can't get stuck in this moment, you got to be thinking, what is next? What is over the horizon?
Yeah.
So for us, we're continuing to grow our business in terms of looking at. We're already in PCCs. We're talking to other groceries.
Nice.
We just hired a sales manager to help us think strategically, and she's helping us really think through the next 2 to 3 years and how do we need to grow this place.
Yeah.
Where I want to do pop-ups. So I've been talking to a few different folks in town, and I want to bring our brand, our experience to the CD and to other communities. And that might be in advance of us thinking about opening up other permanent locations. But I want to try the pop-up experience.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, I've been reading New York. I read New York. Part of my Sunday experience is I read the Sunday New York Times. I'm old in that, so I still get the paper every freaking day from the New York Times. And so years ago, I read in New York Times about something called Sunday Best, I think, and it was like a dance party that happened in a park in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And one weekend I would happen to be in New York. I'm like, I got to go see this. And then I came back thinking, we've got to do this in Seattle.
Yeah.
And for our 1 year anniversary, we had Riz, and we took over our space, and we had a dance party, family friendly. Folks were dancing around and enjoying Riz and enjoying each other. And I want to create more events in space like that. The other big thing I will say is in the springtime, we're going to be launching a fellowship program. And this gets back to our mission and how we're serving it or delivering on it. When you look at our industry, you will see that we are one of 65 or so Black-owned breweries out of 8,000 in the U.S. And there are less than 25 women-owned. And that can't be.
Right.
And so we're working with Rubens, and we're going to launch a fellowship program, paid fellowship program, to help others, women and folks of color, get into this industry that will be 9 months to a year long, where they get to experience, they become cicerones, how to brew, how do you open up a business like this, how do you maintain a business, and we'll be bringing in faculty members to train, mentor, and develop those folks. So that's a big project that's on the horizon.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. I'm excited.
Hey, do that again. That was good.
I do that a lot, so a lot of folks get to see that. But thank you so much for this and sharing Emcee with us. I mean, it is just a blast. I feel behind, getting out there, and it was really good, and I'm excited about what's to come. I'm excited to get in the kitchen and start tinkering with some of the brews, and definitely I will be sending you an invite on what I come up with.
I like that. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And yeah, you could definitely check out more at their website. And I'm sure we'll get your website posted and all that. And so thanks again, and we will be in touch soon.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. So I think this is a time where I get to just kind of share all the wonderful things about food that I love and enjoy. The biggest thing that really kind of jumps up to me, especially when it comes to food, is traveling. When I'm traveling, I am researching where I'm going to be and all the amazing foods of those areas. And so when I was over in Italy, I got to go to a lot of amazing places. And when I was in Spain for a little bit, just hitting some spots there, and definitely really conquering my fear of trying things, because, you don't want to get sick. You don't want to, just have bad experiences with food. But through watching, Food Channel, and food shows and that kind of thing, it definitely, prompted me to really dig deeper into food and exploring all this that is food around us, and spices. I've never been a spicy person until the last like 3 or 4 years, where I really kicked it up a bit. I wasn't very informed on spices, but these last couple of years of really venturing out more into Thai food and other types of food, and kicking up my spice has been a real interesting journey. So I am a foodie. I love it. I love traveling. I love trying stuff. Folks usually say that they don't want me coming to their house for me to try their food, particularly if they bake. And I'm like, don't do it. I love everything, and I'm willing to try anything. So I just love it. I love exploring it and all the emotions that come with it. So I'm just excited about food all the time. So yes, and I will be venturing into more, and definitely with these products here, I am excited to get into the kitchen, which is coming up definitely soon. I got to cook dinner. So now let's go back out to the park with Aaron from Washington State Parks.
Hi, I'm Aaron Webster, coming to you from Cape Disappointment State Park in the traditional territory of the Chinook Indians. And today I want to share a little bit about cooking in a state park. We're going to make a simple recipe that you can do over our campfire grills, a potato packet. Now, most of you can figure out how to make hamburgers or hot dogs when you come to a state park. I'm going to show you a side dish that will turn hamburgers and hot dogs into a good meal. The first thing you need to make a potato packet is a fire. So let's go over to the fire and see how that's done. You can do this on a wood fire. You could do this on a charcoal grill, or even on a gas grill. Today we're just going to use charcoal. And I like to use these charcoal lighting chimneys. This really makes lighting the charcoal easier. So how you use one of these is basically you fill it up with charcoal. And then underneath, you can put some crumpled up paper bags or some wood shavings or whatever you've got handy. Paper works fine. Put that underneath it, set that on the grill. Besides making the fire lighting quicker, this also makes it so you don't have to use lighter fluid. So you basically just light this from the bottom. And in about 20 minutes, we should have a nice container of coals that we can dump down here. While that gets going, go back over to the table and let's look at what goes into the potato packet. So the ingredients for the potato packet are right here. We've got red potatoes, sweet potatoes, onions. You can put some garlic in here. It's really up to you. And then we got a little bit of butter and the oil of your choice, either vegetable oil, margarine, or whatever you've got around. And of course, a roll of tin foil. So we start by cutting up the potatoes. Make them into cubes, about maybe 1/2 inch cubes, I would say. Sweet potato I'm going to cut up a little smaller because it tends to take longer to cook if you don't. You want all these things to cook at the same time. So I'm going to cut these sweet potatoes pretty thin. So then I like to put a little onion and garlic, maybe salt and pepper in there. So everything's cut up. I'm going to set this off to the side. And grab yourself a nice big roll of tin foil. About like that for starters. I am going to put just a little bit of olive oil or oil onto this tin foil, about 1 tablespoon tops. And I'm going to spread that around a little bit with one of these potatoes. Then I'm going to put all the potatoes and whatever other ingredients you've got into the middle of the packet. Salt and pepper. And then just put a little pat of butter in there, maybe about 1 or 2 tablespoons worth. This is going to make the potatoes brown really nicely. So, in order to wrap up this packet, we just take 2 edges and bring them toward the middle. Next, you roll these together as one. That makes a tight seal on the top. Then you just fold up the ends a couple times. That seals the ends. So this potato packet is sealed, but it's not really durable. So we're going to add another piece of tin foil just to be sure. I just do the second piece just like the first. On the top, roll in the ends. Now we have a 2-layer potato packet ready to go on the fire. So let's check out the fire. Doesn't really look like this fire is ready to go yet, so we're going to give it about 10 or 15 more minutes, and then we'll put the potatoes on. All right, well, now that that fire's had some time to establish itself, let's get this potato packet on there. Step 1, we're going to grab this guy and dump it into the fire pit. And just grab that potato packet. You can put it over, usually put it over the hottest part of the fire unless it's super hot. And this you probably want to turn about every 5 to 10 minutes. And then after about 15 minutes, we want to check it, look inside, see how it's doing. Then we might put it back on for about 10 minutes if it's not ready yet. Well, now that that's been on for about 15 minutes, I'm going to pull it off the grill and have a careful look inside to see if it needs any more cooking. It's really hot, so be careful when you unwrap it. All right, looking inside, I can see that it's not burned. All right, I'm just gonna put it back on for about 5 minutes, see if I can brown these potatoes a little bit, then it'll be time to eat. I'm just gonna put on a single layer tin foil. I'm gonna leave the outer layer off, see if I can get this thing to brown, and we'll give it about 5 minutes. I just wanna show you one quick trick too, where if you're cooking this, you pull it off after 15 minutes and those potatoes are still pretty hard, it's not cooking enough. One thing that I do is I'll take another sheet of tin foil and just make a tent over the whole thing. This will really reflect the heat from the fire and take your cooking up a notch. All right, 5 minutes later, time to take this off the grill and have a taste. So there you have it. Potato packet on the grill. One of the easiest ways to turn hamburgers and hot dogs into a meal. So from Cape Disappointment State Park, we're signing off. Hope to see you out in the park sometime, having a great meal over one of our campfires. Hop.
All right, thank you, Aaron, and glad to hear about the ban, the fire ban being lifted as well. So, just having this opportunity to review, and watch what Aaron did with the packets is, when he said tinfoil, we just went totally old school, and it's so funny. I was like, oh yeah, this is serious. This is serious old school cooking here. But just, using that fire chimney and exploring what that is, I have not had an opportunity to really use one. I have been on the low tech end of barbecuing. I use a pellet grill that I love. But venturing into using that lighting chimney and doing packets on a grill like that, I might have to venture out and do that kind of thing. But what he explored with the potatoes and creating side dishes. Side dishes are huge, especially when you're out camping and you're using maybe even the parks grill and having a variety of ways to kind of pull a meal together. And so, he's using this analogy of a burger and creating a side dish to make the burger a meal. Is interesting, and just how can we begin to leverage packets in our everyday. There's a lot of recipes online about using packets and one dish meals, or one even packet meals, where you put your protein and your vegetables and all steams and cooks all together and all that fun stuff. And so just just hearing him introduce that as something to do and explore at the parks with the grills was quite interesting just to think of. And as we are just venturing through food and venturing in these times where we are, these COVID-19 times where we're social distancing and all of that, thinking of other ways in which we need to venture out into parks and cook and enjoy ourselves. Exploring packet cooking is quite interesting. I actually, I don't know if anyone has ventured with these packets. Definitely make comments about your experiences with them and any favorite recipes you may have, because that would be cool. I thought when I saw his carrots, I thought they were sweet potatoes, but venturing into sweet and savory stuff from food and side dishes will be really great to explore. Speaking of side dishes, side dishes are hard to come by. in these lands, really good side dishes. And my spouse and I talked about long time ago a side dish project. And so it really makes me think about the need for side dishes. Great proteins are easy to come by. You get you a good steak or a roast or something, but those side dishes, those are serious. And thinking about my tradition and food, just the stories of food, and thinking about my grandma who was just this awesome cook. My mom, on the other hand, was not. So I learned very quickly that I needed to figure it out if I wanted to eat. So, and she's not here with us, so she's not going to get me, but I needed to figure it out so that we can have good food. And side dishes were, are really key to a successful meal. And so, my grandma taught me how to make cornbread dressing and cabbage and greens and all those things, which of course is making me hungry. Just thinking about that and all the ways in which our families are represented a lot in the food that we have our favorite dishes to make, talking about what Ayanna and I talked about earlier with, her favorite dish of macaroni and cheese, and everybody's got their own macaroni and cheese dish recipe, and even her secret ingredient is really nice. I'd love to try that. And so, just thinking about how we got here and the food that we love, and how do we continue to pass that on for generations, ideas of keeping those recordings of our food up and going. Maybe think about doing videos of you doing your favorite dishes and that kind of thing, just to kind of have it documented, so for generations to come to be able to look back on. So I love his introduction and his video on using the state parks in this way. So every Sunday sermon, there is a Black business highlighted. Today, we're highlighting Millersylvania Brewing Company. Millersylvania Brewing Company is a family and bike-friendly destination in the heart of Woodinville, featuring distinctive award-winning beers, local ciders, and their own in-house nitro brewed coffee, which I missed, so I need to go back and get that. MBC is all about building community and offering a welcoming gathering space for families, friends, and those who appreciate well-crafted beer. Yes, the beer hall is currently open, but due to COVID-19, they're only occupying 50% of their space. So make a reservation before you go. And if you are in Seattle, check out the beer locator to find where you can grab a pint in your neighborhood. All right. So next up, we have poet Kamari Bright cooking up something special for us. And I am excited about that. So take it away.
Is this thing on? Okay. Hello, my name is Kamari Bright. Welcome to my GBE crib. Theatrics aside, today I'm gonna make hot water cornbread. So this is something that I remember my mom making when I was a kid, and I think she learned it from her dad, my grandpa. It's how family works. And so it's like one of those things that came out of enslaved Africans in the Americas, because they had so few ingredients that they could work with that they just made whatever they had work. So hot water cornbread is literally just cornmeal, hot water, salt, and oil, whatever you fry it in. I think over time, like depending on your family, you might add maybe some butter to it or sugar. You know, everybody loves sugar. So it just, there's slight variations between families, but the essentials, the basics is just cornmeal, hot water, and salt, and whatever oil you fry it in. So we have our cooktop going. We've got some hot water in a pot coming to a boil. And so now we're gonna put all of our other ingredients in this bowl. So start out with the main part of this, which is the cornmeal. And y'all can excuse my little plastic baggies. I didn't want to bring the whole container. It was just too big. So we're gonna do, the thing about this also, hot water cornbread, you will be hard pressed to find a recipe anywhere. So we're just gonna eyeball about how much to put in here. I'm gonna go with like half of this bag in case I don't like the way this comes out. I'll try again with different proportions. So that was the cornmeal, and this is pink Himalayan salt. You can use any salt you have. Clearly, I just have bougie things in my home. And that looks about correct. And we're also going to put some of the sugar in there. This is coconut palm sugar. Again, I am sorry, I have unnecessarily complicated things in my house. You can use regular white sugar if you have it. Just a tinge of it. And we're gonna mix it. And if you want to, if you're cooking outside like I am, you can add a secret ingredient of trail spice. I'm kidding, don't put that in there. All right, so we got everything mixed, and we're gonna put our hot water into this. So the hot water is gonna cook your cornmeal a little bit before we fry it. And before the hot water, I actually forgot, I brought a little butter because it makes it all nice and whatever this is inside. This is like tender, supple or something. Okay, and now hot water. Ooh, it's just starting to bubble. See, I told you, Kiwi, if I watch it, it'll boil. Get our trusty, dusty measuring cup. So there's no specific measurement that you need. You just gotta eyeball it and see if the texture looks about right. And I'm also gonna pour this on my butter to melt it. And we'll make it a little more easily seen. So I need some more water. You do want a fairly thick consistency. So I would say maybe about here. I'm gonna get all of the dry things incorporated with the wet things and get it all. Woo! Sorry, I love food. I'm gonna bring this back, bring my energy back down as though I am in mixed company. Yep, so this is about the consistency we will want. You don't want it too wet. And kind of a good test, if you can see that it'll just hold together when you press it, that's probably good. The good thing about this also is if you put too much water, just add some more cornmeal. If you got too much cornmeal, add some more water. So really just play with it. All right, and now we're gonna form little, I guess patties. Now some people do this in their hand. Because it is hot, I'm not gonna touch this. My mom taught me this. She just uses 2 spoons, scoops it out and forms it with the spoons, puts it in the frying oil. Quick location change. So the rain didn't want us to be great, so we came under the shelter. And now we're going to fry the mix that you saw we added the hot water to. So we got our oil and cast iron skillet. You can use whatever nonstick thing you have at home, but I'm going to take my spoons and form the little patties because that's just the way we've done it. Typically you're using hot water for this, so if you want to touch it, if you've got like those grandma hands where the heat just does not affect your fingers, go for it, form it in your palm, do it whatever size you want to, and then add it to your skillet. So yeah, we'll get a good amount. And I actually may need to form this with my hand. Don't worry, they're clean. I've been keeping them sterilized and not touching things. Because this has sat for a little bit, I'm gonna just do it in my hand because it's a little easier. So, this oil should be hot. If it starts popping, I will run and dessert this hot water cornbread. Just a heads up, I am not that type of cook. All right, first one in. Y'all, I hate frying stuff because I'm scared of getting popped. And I wasn't kidding. If this starts popping crazy, I will leave. All right, this is the last one. We don't have enough for another one, so I'm just gonna leave this as the last one. And then we'll let those fry up and get golden brown, and then we'll flip them to the other side and let that fry for a little bit. And then we'll take them out and we'll put them in our fancy cast iron with some paper towels in the bottom to catch the excess grease. So I'm just flipping some of these over. It's looking nice and golden brown. I love food so much. I'm gonna calm down. But I was talking to my friend in the car and just talking about how food was like the first alchemy. This was the first form of magic that humans had. Just to see all the chemical reactions that happen with food, or the elements like your salts, your baking powder, your baking soda, like all of those things, and just to mix them together in a way that'll cause a specific reaction. Like, food is amazing to me. I was that kid who was always at other people's plates. So like if you had food, I was over there like, hey, what we got? And now, you know, I still do that a little bit, as long as we're good friends. I don't do it to strangers because, you know, they don't know what to expect from me. But, okay, it's looking pretty. I got my handy dandy back pocket towel. I feel like whenever my dad is cooking, he's a barbecuer. He will always have a towel in his back pocket just to wipe hands, or I think my dad uses it more for sweat. My dad sweats a lot. In the Midwest, summers are hot. Ooh. Y'all can't smell this, but I can smell it, and it smells good. I'm gonna taste it first, and then if it's good, I'll let everybody else taste it. If it's not good, I'm not giving it to people. It wasn't, okay, so my mom would make these, it wasn't necessarily a special occasion when, or holiday food specifically. I think she would just randomly make it. I feel like I do this too. Sometimes you just get the idea to cook something that you remember your elders making, and just do it. Because I have one memory of her making it just on a random summer day. I just came in the house and I saw my mom frying at the stove. And I was like, ooh, what we got? Because, you know, it smells really nice, like that corn, slightly sweet smell. And I just took one off that was fried and I ran outside. But I don't know what else happened with my mom inside because I went outside. But yeah, it's not like your everyday thing, because I don't think you should be eating fried stuff every day. But, you know, every now and then. And it's nice just to keep the tradition of making certain things within your family. And keep that memory and those people you learned it from present. So we are looking good. Okay, I'm gonna pull out the first one that went in because it's looking very pretty. So black measurements are actually non-existent. They are eyeballing. Some people might like use their palm to measure maybe salt. But for the most part, it's so personally, as a millennial, it's frustrating because there are a lot of things that I didn't see because I wasn't in the kitchen. I was outside playing as a kid, but I remember eating them. So as I'm trying to make them as an adult, like with this, for example, I called my mom like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, Mom, how do you make hot water cornbread? She's like, oh, you just like get some cornmeal and some salt, put a little sugar, maybe a little baking soda or baking powder to help it lift. And I'm like, okay, cool, what quantities? She's like, I don't know, you just kind of, you just eyeball it. And I'm like, okay, what consistency? And that's the only way I can get like a small amount of help about how much to put of what in it. So she was telling me, you want to go for like wet sandish. So I was like, okay, I can work with that. And it was funny, I did a little social experiment on my social media, and I asked people if their family makes hot water cornbread. And so a lot of people did the same thing my mom does. They were like, yeah, all you do is put a little cornmeal and salt in hot water. I was like, okay, thanks you all. So yeah, now all of our hot water cornbread have come out the oil. They're draining on this paper towel. I'm gonna let it cool down a little bit so I don't burn myself and do a little taste test. Oh, can you hear that crunch?
I think probably, but let me check.
I dance when I eat. Oh, it's hot. I'm trying not to burn myself.
Yeah, we could. Should we just let...
Could I let it cool? No.
No, okay. Oh yeah, getting the crunch.
This works. Hot water cornbread.
Kitchen talk. The thing about cooking is, it's never just cooking. Them recipes don't tell you how to fill your stomach, they show you how to live your life. Love your people. We ain't much different than ingredients anyway. Everybody in our family can be found in this bowl. Some people, like your auntie, are oil. Can't nothing stick to her, not even hard times. She made for the heat, you understand? It don't change her like it do others. Only thing with them oil people is they can't stay still. You gotta let them flow. Gotta let them run. And then your uncle is one of them salt people. He can be a little hard to deal with straight on. People think he no good, but you gotta realize he necessary. Still can't take too much of him in one go, but he play a part in all this. Yeah, them salt people, they the ones that keep us all balanced. They how we know what sweet is. Your cousins, they all flower folks, do they best when they got others around. Don't do too good on their own, really. That's a part of their magic, though. They can go anywhere, make anything, be the base or a sprinkle. But either way, they change the whole mix. And your grandmama, she was an egg, holding everybody and everything in this family together. She was a binding woman, you see. Nobody could ever crack that woman's shell. Tough as all get out, and loved the same way. Your grandmama could have took all that yolk, all that nourishment inside her and grown into something alive. But she saw all of us stuck in this bowl and gave us something we couldn't give ourselves. Connection. Yeah, she kept everything from falling apart. And here we are, all together, just as different as we can be, and still making something new. Trying to find the balance of how much of who we need to make things just right. Trying to understand our own parts and what it means for the whole.
All right. Thanks, Kamari, for that. That hot water cornbread is probably my spouse's favorite little food. And something that I don't have a whole lot of practice doing because I can make scratch cornbread, but rarely ventured into hot water cornbread. And although I do remember my grandmother making it, it was not something that we did very often because my grandmother made really good cornbread. So we would have that more than anything with greens and cabbage or just because. Since then, since my spouse and I have been together, we have ventured into that. So our first try was an epic fail because it was like Kamari says, not something that you would just watch. You know what the end result is. You know what it tastes like. So I've had to try it a couple times. Hear what people around what they do for theirs, and so hearing Kamari's recipe of it is definitely in this whole vein of hot water cornbread. But it's our friend Donna's mom who really taught me how to make hot water cornbread and what that process is. There is no measuring, like Kamari shared, there's no measuring. It's all in the feel and texture. It's definitely a little, put the seasoning in your hand and dump it in there, mix it all together. And she actually mixes it with her hand. So she goes way old school with it. And, but that taste, that taste, when you are in the pocket when when it's seasoned right and all that stuff. And so I'm like Bobby Flay in soul food. I venture out into all kinds of spices and try some new things. And so I have a tendency to just doctor every recipe. And so I made some, and I added some seasonings, like some chili powder one time, some onion powder, and that. And my spouse gave me a really, really rough response, like this is not it. So I do kind of stick to the close to the recipe, like Kamari says, salt, water, cornmeal, maybe a little sugar, not much more than that. But since we've journeyed down hot water cornbread, is definitely so satisfying and so easy, to pick up and go. And so I really appreciate just having that and the history that it represents for both of our families, and being able to pass that on. So it's of the things that I'm going to pass on to my nieces and other family members is how to make hot water cornbread, because I don't think they do. I think my aunt does. I have to ask. My aunt still makes hot water cornbread. I think she does, actually. My niece told me. So I love that. I love that history tie. I love that that dance that Kamari gave, cooking, and and the joy that kind of emanated through the screen, watching her do that, because it is very true that cooking, for me, cooking, I am in a zone, and my spouse would tell folks, when I'm in the kitchen, I'm in a zone. I'm my most creative when I'm in the kitchen, is why I love cooking so much, and that my products are what they are, because I do get to play and explore and try this. I start with a recipe. It could be something I saw in a book or a magazine or something, And I, just kind of match flavor profiles and kick it up a notch, and definitely customize some recipes to the proteins, or even the drink that we're having. If there's a special drink that I'm doing or somebody's bringing or whatever, and then how do I tie the whole meal into that? I just challenge and push myself to do that. But I definitely have ventured into this whole gourmet thing, just learning how to do things and pull things together, challenging myself. Nowhere near where I want to be on any challenge shows, those cupcake wars and things like that. I'm not interested. I can't bake and cook like that with that time clock and that pressure. Not my foray. So I can't. I don't even venture down that. But just loving food and having time and patience with it, getting to know, how you move, how your equipment works, and that kind of thing, is also part of the journey. And really just understanding, this thing about food. So I really love it. I love talking about it, as you can tell, because I got lots to say. So every Sunday sermon, we take a moment to highlight nonprofits that are doing work in our community. I'd like to spotlight Tubman Center for Health and Freedom. The Tubman Center for Health and Freedom is a community organization committed to the principles of healing and the people's liberation from systems that make us unwell. That's very true. We work to advance health justice, culturally appropriate care, and integrative medicine. We are a collective of community members laying the groundwork for an innovative community health clinic that specializes in meeting the needs of marginalized communities in Seattle's Puget Sound region. We've dropped their donation information in the chat, and I hope you definitely take advantage of that, because they need all the support. They've been around for about 4 months or so they're really pulling everything together, and they have great dreams to get a building and build that out. And I got an opportunity to participate in their visioning session and to really kind of set them up for success of what that looks like, adopting and pulling some of the good parts of what we experience in business and capitalism, and then how do we use that for good, and particularly, providing spaces and experiences that improve our health, our overall health, and change the way that we are engaging in healthcare and taking more of our control, as opposed to healthcare being applied upon us. Most most experiences, you're on a clock. You got 15 minutes, and they might even have a bonus if they can get you out in 7 minutes. So I don't know what that's all about, but healthcare definitely needs to center us and not the healthcare institutions. And so I love what they are doing and bringing forward to challenge the system. So today we also would like to uplift Black Coffee Northwest. If you were here for the last Sunday sermon, this name may sound familiar. Our host for the celebration of activism, Michaela, highlighted her business, Black Coffee Northwest. Unfortunately, in the past week, there was an attempt arson attack against the business. They have had to postpone their opening and raise funds to take care of immediate needs due to this. So we are asking that you consider supporting both the Tubman Center for Health and Freedom and Black Coffee Northwest. Community is so important during this time. It continues. Let's continue to take care of each other, because that's very important. I don't know if you've ever experienced, anything remotely like a fire, and just what that does to you. But it is very, very jarring, and so the recovery process is pretty steep. So if there's any way that you can support, please do consider it. And even, if you can't monetarily support, an encouraging word of support, reposting of their material goes a long way. So there are a whole lot of other ways that we can support these businesses and get the word out about them because they're doing great things. All right, so let's chime in on Ayanna and see how Ayanna is doing.
Hi.
Hi, I can hear you and see you. How's it going?
That's good. Okay. I didn't quite finish yet, but what I did is the personification of a blackberry, what I think it would look like.
Wow.
That
is amazing.
Thank you. I didn't quite finish yet, but I chose blackberries because that's like a big part of my childhood. We always loved picking blackberries and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's always been one of my favorite foods. I kind of drew it like that because of all the thorns and spikes and stuff. Plus, I identify a lot with alternative culture, so I kind of put that in there. So yeah, it's not quite finished yet, but.
And you have like a little thorny device on as well.
Yes.
So you're definitely represented in that art. Very nice. All right. Well, thank you for that. And anything else you want to share about your artwork or anything new that you have coming up?
Well, I already told them.
Oh.
I don't really have anything new, just working on new pieces and stuff like that. So
good. All right. Well, thank you so much and beautiful work. I am so excited about that. And if there are ways in which we can buy your art, we should just go to your website. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, it's alteregoexp.com. So yeah, you can order online and stuff there.
Good. Awesome. Good. Thank you so much. And I appreciate your energy and time. I love that piece and all that you are offering. And I've been to your website and I am excited. I'll be talking with my spouse about what we're going to get.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So today, just thinking about this journey of food and all that we have talked about, especially with Rodney. I'm so excited to get into the kitchen again, like I said, with the brews. I put my shirt on. I got my shirt on, so I'm really, feeling it. And excited to. My spouse is eagerly awaiting me to get in the kitchen. I promised to make red beans and rice today, as well as a mushroom stroganoff. So my spouse bought this Instant Pot, and so we're gonna, give it a whirl, try it out, see how it works, and see how I can incorporate that into our kitchen, our very small kitchen. But just thinking about food, how it has impacted our lives, and really kept our families alive and our history alive. Being able to pass down recipes like hot water cornbread. We talked about macaroni and cheese. The cooking with the packets. What Aaron did with the potatoes and carrots and onions and that. Just doing it on the grill. All the variety of ways in which food helps us and supports us, grounds us in our families and in our communities. How we get to share love through food. That is definitely one thing that I use to share love is feeding folks. If I invite you over to the house and for a meal, I've put a lot into it, a lot of intentions, and a lot of folks do. There's a lot of pressure. I know some, my friends from last night, my friend put a lot of work into the food that we were eating, and the love kind of shows through because people take care. One way of taking care of folks is through food and making sure that everything is right and seasoned well, and who doesn't like what and who does like what, and just having enough for folks to really be full and enjoy themselves. And so that's a huge thing, and so, this venture into food and celebrating food and all the ways in which it impacts our lives and reminds us of each other. There are some things that, some foods that I've had from friends who I only eat it from them. So, and that is our connection. And so, how many ways we all have those types of connections and explorations of food with each other. So I do definitely want to take this moment to honor all the hosts who have been in this seat that I am in. And so they are Lulu Carpenter, who I just so happen to co-host a radio show with called Lulu Nation and the Crew with Mr. B on Hollywood Radio. So shout out to Lulu. Kelly Richardson, Naakua, oh my gosh, who is my heart, as well as Michaela Weary. I want to say a special thanks to our sponsors, Conservation Northwest, the Wilderness Society, Washington Trails Association, Seattle Audubon, National Endowment for the Arts, Washington State Parks Foundation, and Washington State Parks. And as we close, I want to thank so much Allison, Ayanna, Kamari, Aaron, and Rodney for sharing your stories, your talents, and your just beautiful energy and passion today with us all. I've learned a lot. I hope I made some new friends, and I'm looking forward to this continuation of journey in food with all of you. I want to thank the team who helped make this happen, to Monica, to Kiwi, wow, Siobhan, I think that's Brandy, yes, and Michaela. Today has been just emotional. I'm talking about food is emotional, but I think the emotion part is actually me thinking about my grandmother, and we are venturing into these holiday times, and so just what a tremendous impact she has on my life, and thinking about food and how food shows up and how I continue passing that love that she gave me in the food that I serve. So this has been really good, and I'm excited to see this, to watch it. I'm just experiencing it. I haven't actually watched it, so I'm looking forward to that. So this is it for Sunday's sermon. I hope I didn't say Sunday soul, because for some reason that rang in my head. But this is it for Sunday sermon. But make sure you are on the Golden Bricks events mailing list and follow them on Facebook and Instagram at symbol Golden Bricks events. Don't forget to fill out the survey and be entered in a chance to win a Discovery Pass. And we are going to end with a throwback performance from Naomi. I can't pronounce her last name. I forgot to ask that. I think it's Wachira. Thank you for joining us for this Sunday and for another Sunday sermon, where we celebrate Black food and hopefully enjoyed some ice cream, which I ain't getting no ice cream, so we need to find that. So, all right, take care. Bye-bye.
This next song comes from a Zulu word called Ubuntu, which when translated means I am because you are and you are because I am. And it's this really beautiful way of reminding ourselves that that we cannot be human all by ourselves, that we need other people to help define us for better or worse. And so this is about that. I've been wondering, I've been trying to figure out who this brown skin girl journey, trying to understand why on earth I am here. And I've discovered I am the sum of everybody I've met. Some have blessed me, some have cursed me, some have held me down, and others pushed me aside. And then there are those who sat beside me. We laughed and we cried. I've been pondering, I've been trying to find the thread, the invisible thread that binds us together. And I've discovered we are the same in our existence. Sometimes we're afraid, sometimes we are bold, sometimes we can't fight, and other times we just run and run and run. And then there are days it feels like we're back on the playground again, defending our right to be here, defending our right to be here. I am 'cause you are, cause I am. So be kind to me, and I'll do the same for you. I am 'cause you are, cause I am. So be kind to me, and I'll do the same for you. We are because you are, because I am. Tuombe Mungu atupe amani, atupe upendo. We are because you are, because I am. Brothers and sisters, let us be mindful, let us be mindful, Lord. We are because you are, because I am. Tuombe Mungu atupe amani, atupe upendo. Tuombe Mungu, tuombe Mungu, tuombe Mungu, tuombe Mungu, tuombe Mungu, tuombe Mungu, atupe amani, atupe upendo, fadhili, atupe amani, atupe upendo, fadhili. Oh